Hello guys, today we are reacting to I Survived 100 Days as an Axolotl Hardcore Minecraft 1.17. So, right now, I'm going to pause this to see how long I can record. Now, I am ready. What happened? Hold on. Alright, now we're good.
In today's video, we survived 100 days in Minecraft, except we're an axolotl. Yup, me and my friends joined a multiplayer Morph SMP, and this is how it went. The goals of this video is to join a powerful nation for world domination, survive through the nether banishment, and defeat the dragon. Will we survive till the end? Watch till the end of the video to find out. Also, we hit it, boys! 100,000 subscribers. Woo! Let's freaking go! You guys killed it. Next up is 150,000. So if you guys can hit that subscribe button, it'll mean the world to me. Finally, hit the like button for the algorithm, and let's get straight into it.
All the credit from this video goes to
Day 1. So we start this all off in a bit of a different place. We're not actually above the world, we're underground. Now there's a reason for this. Instead of spawning up there like a normal player would, we're not exactly a normal player. No. We're an axolotl. Now if you guys didn't know, axolotls actually spawn in lush caves. So that's exactly where we're beginning. I also decided to test if I had the ability to breathe underwater. Now I still got the bubbles for some reason, but they never went down. So I was able to survive in the water. The issue with axolotls is that they die in the air after 5 minutes. I think you guys can guess why that's a problem, but if you can't, let's just say the nether isn't looking too good for a water-based creature. But that's the challenge for future me, not me right now. My main goal was to get out of this cave. Luckily, there was a little bit of a water chute, so we climbed up it. What I also noticed was that there was a bit of iron in the lush cave, so you know damn well your boy was gonna go back and mine it. But for the meantime, we need to get some wood within the 5 minutes that we had of being above air before we start suffocating. Another problem that you guys might have missed is the fact that we have less than average health. And that's true, axolotls don't have that much health compared to a normal human player. This just made things all the more difficult. I also noticed that there was this huge castle right next to us. We were definitely gonna explore that, but we were not ready for that yet. On my search for wood, I also noticed that we were next to a village. I quickly scurried over there and took some of the hay bales, got some wood, and got a bunch of cobble. Stone Age. I also found a chest in the village, and within it, it had a leather chest plate. I mean, it's a start. It's not iron armor or anything, but I'll take it. Anything that can slow down my damage process because I don't have that many hearts. Another issue that I ran into was some of the villagers just didn't want to trade with me. I guess it's because I'm an axolotl. Bro, what is this slander? I don't deserve this. They so mean to me. Oh, and I also took their beds. But that wasn't all. I also took their animals during the night. I know, I'm sneaky. You know, this might explain why they hate me. My goal was to bring these 2 animals back to my base so I can put them somewhere for safekeeping so that I can make a farm later on. But lo and behold, we got jumped by some zombies. They did enormous amounts of damage, and I even had to build up just so I could be protected from them. You know, I thought the zombies were bad, but wait till you see the skeletons. I swear the skeletons on this version of Minecraft was relentless. So your boy ditched the animals. I went back home. Days 2 to 5. I woke up to the sounds of zombies above me. Now, I didn't know exactly whether or not there was a cave above me, besides the one I came in from, and I was a little concerned. We mined some of the iron that was down there as well, so I can make myself a bucket. That way I'll be more portable. This actually plays a crucial part in surviving the nether. I also decided to reap the resources that are here, such as coal and the other ores that I can find. And let's just go ahead and smelt those up. Oh, and also, I kind of stole a lectern from them. Don't tell them, okay? Ain't no snitches allowed. While this was all happening, I also decided to break a bunch of wood just so I can get some resources to start building my base. I wasn't sure if I had enough, but I had quite a bit. I also need to make an...
Sorry about all this noise, guys. Right now, my data's going up at 10. So, yeah. I'm a speedy boy right now. At least I try to be. There's the fork. Now, time to get to eating.
New axe. And that's what we had so far. I know, okay? It's not much, but I really wanted to think about this one. Because if any other player on the server were to find this, I want it looking kind of nice, you know? We also went out of our way to actually get 2 cows. So this time we can actually breed them. As you can see, I put them in a pit, and there's a reason for this. No, there wasn't. I also decided to start attacking a bunch of fish. Now you might be wondering, why are you going out of your way to attack some fish? You already have plenty of food. I don't know. I just wanted to keep the tradition going. With my other 100-day videos, I did the same thing. Now see, this is a situation situation where I thought I was full of myself. You know, I thought I was ready, prepared to attack the dungeon. No, not the dungeon, the castle. Just by going into the castle for like a mere couple seconds, I realized that there was a lot of danger there and a high density of mobs. The entire thing was filled with spawners. The only thing I wondered was what the loot was like in there. There's probably a lot. I also wanted to see if there was any other easier dungeons or structures that I can bump into, but I had no luck with that. Day 6 to 10. I spent a lot of this time trialing and erroring with a bunch of the builds that I wanted to do, but primarily the house. I didn't really know what kind of shape it should look like, but this is what I came out with. Not too shabby. Somewhere along the lines, I also wanted to explore a bit of the jungle that was nearby. It's actually right behind us, and I wanted to check out what was in there. I don't know why, but I was really hoping to see like a panda or a panda's base. Instead, I encountered a fox, which wasn't that bad. They seemed to have a home, and 2 of them were just lying in front of it. I personally wanted to check it out, so that's what I did. I went inside, took some iron from one of the chests, and I just left before they realized that I took from them. And here's a clip of me struggling to actually get out through the vines because of an axolotl. After I got back to my base, I also went on to making some fences. This is because I wanted to make a bit of an animal pen for the cows that I left underneath the ground. Uh-oh, do they have air in there? And that's what it looks like. Pretty simple, straightforward, nothing fancy. Right when I went there to see what my house looked like, there was something else there with it. It was one of the other 1.17 editions, the goat. This thing sprinted at my house. It was ridiculous, and I was just keeping an eye on him. It broke open the gate that I just created for my cows and killed both of them. And then he just walked away as if he didn't know nobody. This was a situation that was so uncalled for. I don't even know why they did it. But there was one thing that was certain. I was definitely going to figure out what the heck was going on and get revenge on my dead cows. Days 11 to 20. Upon closer inspection, I also realized that the goat got in through the window. They just completely demolished one of the windows. I actually had to patch that up, and alongside that, I also decided to make a different pen for different animals. I started bumping up the security. I also needed a shield. And then out of nowhere, I started getting attacked by a skeleton. Now this thing was mad. It would only take it around 2 to 3 hits to actually kill me off. So luckily I had a shield. And in remembrance to the cows that were lost during this event, I also decided to make 2 lovely graves. The one on the left will be called Zachary Mateus, and the second one will be called cow number 2. It will forever remain in our memories. I'm happy this initial starting area is kind of like a bunker if everything goes wrong. But we out of everyone wasn't gonna let that happen. I decided to continue my security measures. I also made it so there was quite literally no way to actually escape the gates. This way there's no getting in or out. But I had a little bit of an idea on a way in and out that would only be specific to other axolotls, which by the way on this server aren't the dominant species. But despite that, I also decided to add a layering of another set of fences. I just had some extra and I didn't know what to do with them. And just in case any human actually came by, I also wanted to set a bit of a flooring, because if you didn't know, axolotls can fit on half slab areas. So that's exactly what I did. I created my half slab interior, and this is what it looks like. And as an even added security measure, I decided to add a sign that says gone fishing. So ain't nobody coming here, bro. Ain't nobody coming to this house. I felt safe. I really did. After I practically have the base set up, I decided to go exploring again. I wanted to find any more cool structures and get some wood along the way because, you know, I wanted to build a basement and maybe an attic as well. Also decided to go mining. I wanted to see if I can get full iron. Alongside that, maybe just a diamond or 2. Come on, game. Just be lucky.
Challenge yourself for her. Challenge accepted.
Purdue University Global. Affordable online education for driven working adults. Apply now at purdueglobal.edu.
To my surprise, I probably got something just as equally as cool as diamonds. I found an amethyst geode. Now, these things are also part of 1.17. I decided to drop down and, hey, Bill Clutch, first try, let's go. Yeah, no, this thing was cool, but I didn't really need any of the stuff inside, but it is quite the sight. Shortly afterwards, I also found one of the custom biomes that we also have within the caves, which was the Mushroom Cave. Alongside that, there was a spawner next to it. Spooky, right? But also valuable items, and that's what I was here for. Nope, not according to the baby zombie that almost completely decimated my existence on the server. Because if you die on this server, you just get banned. It's out of my control. Now, getting to the chest that was in the back of the room was a little bit difficult, but I realized I could just mine around it and figure out a way to access the chest really quickly and bounce. And that's what I did. But listen, okay, if you thought that was cool, just take a look at this. This is also another one of the custom biomes. There's crazy amounts of emeralds, crazy amounts of lapis. I was hoping diamonds, but we didn't really get any, unfortunately. But yo, I'm not complaining. I kept going further down, and eventually I hit a point where I tapped into a lava pool. Now, this thing looked sick. Just take a look at this. Look at the amount of obsidian all over the place. And this huge, gigantic lava pool in the middle. It was definitely a sight. But another cool thing is that I noticed that there were actually chests that randomly spawn in these caves. So not only can you go normally mining, you can also just find a bunch of crazy stuff down here through the chests alone. Now that's revolutionary. And look, it gets even better. Take a look at this lush cave that somehow merged within this ravine. These cave biomes are too much. Lush cave and a lava pool in the same place? Bam, there you go. Obviously, I'm not gonna keep every single thing I find here, but there was a lot of other cool things that I just had to skim over. Days 21 to 33. I took this time to wrap up the little mining trip that I had. And when I say little, I mean a very extensive mining trip where I just went biome to biome because I thought they were cool. Yeah, that sounds like something I'd do. On my way back, I was actually heading to the coordinates of my base, and suddenly I encountered a house. Not just any house. It's definitely not my house, but it was the goat's house. The goat that vandalized my property. Let me tell you, this goat had it coming for them, okay? I was gonna mess some stuff up. It was a good thing I knew where it was, but then I went into the mountains trying to get some creepers because I wanted some gunpowder. That way I can blow his house to smithereens, but that didn't go as well because I don't have a lot of help. Bummer. Instead, I decided with plan B. Arson! We're gonna blow it down. Burn it. I meant burn it, not blow it. It didn't take too long before we got the flint and steel, and we headed straight to his house. Hopefully he wasn't actually there. That way he'd be surprised and come back to a pile of ashes with his base just completely burnt down. Out here, it's kill or be killed, alright? And I was not gonna let that goat slide. Ain't no way. I snuck in through the back. I broke a little bit of a hole, enough of one so that I can fit through, and the goat can't, just in case he did catch me. She wasn't going to, because, you know, I'm sneaky with it. But to my surprise, he actually was at his base. I thought he would have been mining or like cutting down trees or something. Maybe I should have got the flint and steel a little bit faster, but it's fine, you know? He wasn't really paid attention to who made that noise when I broke the fence. Instead, he was more paid attention to crafting something, I think? I don't know. I'll let you guys judge what he was doing. And there it was. We were burning down the house, one piece at a time. It didn't take too long before it started burning down a bunch of stuff. They soon realized that someone had to right-click their house with flint and steel for it to burn down like that. And they quickly scurried outside in search for the person, or... creature in this case that burnt their house down, and I just quickly got out of there as soon as possible, but close enough so I could still keep watch of it. Nothing was safe, not even their fences. Everything was burning down, and it was all coming down into ashes. And that's when I knew that my job was done. I have gotten revenge. I went back to my base. This is also a clip of me smacking the all notifications button down below. You don't want to miss an upload, trust me. I was trying to work a little bit more on the interior design of the place. That way I'd look like a sophisticated axolotl than just some caveman axolotl. Alright, don't judge me. Reputation is important. But as soon as I began these new reconstruction ideas and plans that I had, I came out of my base and noticed that what I had done to the goat had been done to me. My entire base around me was burning down. It was all made out of wood. The only thing that I had left that wasn't wood was the glass. All of that work was just burning down before my eyes, and now I got the taste of my own medicine. I think I went a little too far. There was nothing I could do besides watch it all burn down. Even the animals were dead. I was the only one that remained. No trace of the culprit whatsoever, but I can kind of assume that it was probably the goat that did this. I grabbed everything valuable that I had and decided to move my base location because this place was not safe. I don't know what I was thinking making a base nearby a structure that massive. Days 34 to 40, I decided to go on a bit of a voyage. I wanted to find a nice place to live, alright? At first, I kind of wanted to be a nice green environment with a bunch of trees and a bunch of nice things, but instead I decided to opt out of that when I finally got myself around a huge batch of water. But here's why, because I am an axolotl. I need water to survive, so why not make an underwater house/aquarium? Because I think that'd be kind of cool. Also, the rest of the axolotl team was living here as well, so your boy was with his people, or axolotls in this case. Now, I know I've already made this mistake once, which was living near a gigantic structure, and as you can see right here, we were also near another one of these gigantic castles. But listen, okay, listen. This time around, my house won't be able to be burnt down or blown up, and that's just simply due to the fact that it's underwater, alright? It's gonna be surrounded interior-wise and exterior-wise with water. How is it gonna burn down? Tell me. It's also gonna be practically made out of glass, so I should be fine. And we got straight to work. I decided to pick a spot. This seemed pretty decent. It wasn't too bumpy around this area, and it was pretty nice. I decided to place a crafting table and my trusty barrel. While I was thinking of what kind of shape that the dome that I was gonna make, aka the aquarium, was gonna look like, I got approached by a fellow axolotl. Now this axolotl was a little bit weird. I would go around labeling them, but there were way too many to label, so we'll just call him Axolotl Prime. He took me down to the main place that a lot of the axolotls were just kind of vibing at. It was actually really cool. It was kind of like a huge secluded area where they're safe from any predators. It was actually kind of sick. I also decided to make a little bit of a safe haven for them because obviously once they leave that cave, that's it. Like they're just in the ocean. So my dome, since it was going to be filled with water, was going to be the little transitional phase. I also decided to put 4 markers down just so I know kind of like the space that I want to work with for this dome. I set out to get some materials as well because I definitely needed some more, and that's including the amount of sand that I needed. I needed a lot. Like when I say a lot, I mean a lot. This stuff was dusty, yo. Once I got back, I kind of created a little bit of a smeltery and started smelting a bunch of the glass. That way I'd have enough to actually finish the dome. Once again, I was in the need of a mining trip, but this time around, I needed lapis and I needed diamonds. Those were the 2 materials that I was primarily aiming for this time around because 1, just diamonds so I can upgrade my gear, and 2, to enchant. What else? Once I got back up, I also put a bunch of the coal that I needed to actually smelt the glass in the first place. Turns out I didn't even have that much, so that's also another reason I went on the mining trip. But I did get 9 diamonds, so that's a dub. I continued to work on the infrastructure of the dome. It was kind of looking nice. Days 41 to 50, and I was finally done with the dome. It was all good to go. Also, here's some dolphins kissing. I don't know. Hey, yo, that kind of sucks, bro. But you know, while they were here, I let them in the dome because I wanted to keep them as pets. And hey, it worked out. Not complaining. This is when we ran into a bit of a problem. I was really not expecting this, and I'm not even sure to this day if it was the same goat that we found initially, but some goat decided to drop by the base and just check it out for a bit. It was very strange. But I knew one thing for sure, that goats, from my experience, have not been the nicest of people. So what I was gonna do was I was gonna enchant my stuff so I'd be ready for anything this time. When something happens, I was ready to straight up just jump in and start slicing some stuff up. No regrets. I started utilizing the diamonds that I had for an axe and a pickaxe. Now I wasn't sure what to do, but I definitely needed a lot more diamonds, so that meant a second mining trip. When I went to go mining, I eventually found myself in a cave with a bunch of stuff, but I also started getting attacked by so many skeletons. I was so close to dying in so many of these occasions. Thank God I had a bunch of food and a shield, because if I didn't, the series would have just ended there. I would have got banned off the server, and that's it. I ain't gonna let that happen, okay? Luckily for us, in this cave, we also found a bunch of the diamonds that we needed. Days 50 to 60. After this mining trip of ours, we also decided to head back up. Luckily, a lot of the ores also gave us a bunch of EXP to work with. Now, not a crazy amount of EXP, but enough for us to genuinely enchant a decent amount of our armor. And this is me going on an animal killing spree, as if I didn't already have enough food. I keep forgetting that I have a bunch of food. I just keep doing this. Oh, but the killing of cows was actually a bit strategic, because we needed some leather. I also needed some paper, so I went up to get a couple of the sugarcane, created a farm so we can get more sugarcane, and made a little bit of a hut for myself, and I waited there for a bit so the sugarcane can grow. Once the sugarcane was fully grown, I decided to take a bunch of it. I left the bottom layer so that it could regrow again whenever I needed it. So I basically made a bunch of books, that way I can make some bookshelves to get better enchants. I noticed that something was a little weird. Some of the axolotls have actually escaped from the area and just started vibing around the place, like as normal axolotls do. They were hunting for fish, but they weren't alone. They were not the only hunters out right now. A pretty big predator of the axolotl is also a fox. And that's exactly who was hunting down some of the people that live there. I tried saving one of the axolotls by attacking the fox head on, but unluckily it did a lot of damage to me. I couldn't stay there for any longer. I had to book it. This was no laughing matter. A bunch of our members were dying to this one fox. It was ridiculous and I couldn't do much about it. But from what I soon realized, it wasn't just the fox that I had to worry about. Because not only was there a fox going around killing some of the axolotls, there was also a goat that was going around killing the axolotls. And who knows what else was there. While they were distracted and occupied, I decided that it was finally time. One of my team members in the axolotl team also decided to make a nether portal underneath, just in case things went south. And that's exactly what I decided to use. I went down there straight away and went into the nether. Now, you guys already know that I'm an axolotl, and to be an axolotl, you'd need a source of water to be in every single 5 minutes. So I only had 5 minutes to actually be in there, then I need to get out. Or so I thought. I decided to stay there for around 1 to 2 minutes, and before I knew it, I was put into a bucket. After talking to some of the admins on the server, I realized that if you go into the nether as any water-based creature, you kind of end up in a bucket if you're able to, and that includes things like pufferfish. But the problem is I'm unable to move without other people, so I need other axolotls. But then there's another problem because we'd both turn into water buckets. So I got some of my friends on to help me out. They were dealing with their own issues and problems on the server themselves with their species, and so we all decided to coexist with one another within the Nether to get through it and get all the stuff we needed to kill off the dragon. It was all out war back there, and we weren't really eager to get back anytime soon. So it was a waiting game. Day 61 to 70. Finally, after all that time, I finally got some allies that can help me out. The first person that approached me was actually a fox. Now this fox was the one that was carrying me the entire trip within the Nether. For this portion, I'm also going to be showing you some cinematics I got from Replay Mod, because when in actuality, when someone picks you up like that, the POV in the first person perspective is really weird and just glitchy. So we're gonna keep it like this. Enjoy the Replay Mod angles. The fox was honestly just exploring the area. He wanted to see if there was anything nearby. And eventually, he saw a goat. But he kind of ignored it for the beginning because he thought that the goat was gonna attack him. So he waited for the goat to attack first just to make sure if he was friendly or aggressive. This was a smart move, especially when all the species out there are going through war right now. It is ridiculous out there, and we don't need any more chaos than what's already here. It's a little ironic when you think about it. We left the old area where our house was so we can avoid violence, just to end up being violent again. It was a bit of an endless loop, but we had hope. We wanted to create a bit of a peace treaty. That way that all these species and the nations that are out there could come into a bit of a coalition. Because what if something external decides to attack all of us? We had to be prepared for the absolute worst. So we were looking into things that we can use as a bit of a signing treaty, but we didn't just want to use some normal paper because anyone can get that. We were aiming for the dragon egg. We wanted to place a dragon egg right into the center of it all to then rebrand, reform, and just revolutionize everything within this server. The fox traveled for ages, but eventually found themselves at a bastion. But the issue was it was guarded by a bunch of piglins and they didn't have any gold. So what happened instead was that the fox was being attacked by the piglins. Then the goat decided to ram into one of them and save the fox. And boom. That's how the trust was created. They both decided that they wanted to loot the bastion equally, so that both of them got a bunch of stuff. It seemed fair, in all honesty, it was a pretty decent idea. It didn't take too long before they were approached by the guards over there and attacked the goat as well, but then the fox came in and saved the goat. What comes around goes around, I guess. Obviously, there was only two of them. Like, what more can they do? It was an entire heavily guarded area with a bunch of normal piglins inside, and that was very deadly. But what we decided to do was go into the center chest and loot it. Despite their efforts to swiftly grab the stuff and leave, it wasn't that easy. They decided to go into an all-out war. It was that one goat and that one fox versus the entire bastion remnant. It was honestly a gruesome fight that went on for quite some time. They just kept coming and kept spawning, so we decided to leave. It wasn't easy, but eventually we got on a bit of an outskirt and decided to leave through there. But before we did, we also realized that there were two more chests up there, and why would we even miss out on that opportunity? Those were like the two best chests out of the entire bastion, and there it was. We also got ourselves a bunch of iron, a bunch of gold from that, and even pig step. Now this was also crucial because not only are we going to use the Ender Dragon egg, we are also going to use Pig Step to create this alliance between all of the nations. We taking all W's today, baby. Then the second voyage of the Nether began, and that was to find the Nether Castle. Now this thing isn't the easiest thing to find, and obviously with my luck, you guys already know how long this thing takes to get, and it's just annoying. You guys are lucky this part is cut out, but it's honestly just a lot of walking until we get lucky. But boom! Lo and behold, we got ourselves at the Nether Castle. This was so we can get some blaze rods because we need that for the Eye of Enders to get to the Ender Dragon. Y'all know the drill. I think one of the most dangerous things within this situation would probably be the Wither Skeletons. They're the most aggressive and most dangerous thing here. Then second to that would probably be the Blaze, and the third, the Ghast. It was ridiculous. To our surprise, the fox also got themselves a Wither Skeleton skull. What are the chances of that? I'm telling y'all, I swear down, the things that we don't need, like this Wither Skeleton skull, are the things that we end up getting. Like, why? What for? But enough talk about my bad luck. And so the camping began. We started camping the blaze spawner, you know, as you'd normally do, especially in speedruns, for those lovely blaze rods. We needed a bunch of them, so we were there for a bit. Then began the third voyage, which was to find one of those red biomes, because we needed that to get ourselves a bunch of Enderman eyes. Luckily, we also remembered to get a bunch of gold from the bastion, and you know what that means. it's trading time. We only really had one piglin in the beginning, so it was super slow, but eventually we got a couple more, as you can see right here. There was a lot of random loot that we didn't really need, but got anyways because the piglins were being dumb. But at the end of it, we did get a bunch of ender pearls, and that's what really matters. During all of this, the 2 was also attacked by other piglins, and you know, obviously they had to just put them into the hole, but we were also jumped by demon pigs. Now, these demon pigs are ferocious, okay? I know the pain. Although I was in a bucket in the pocket of a fox, I knew the pain that they were going through. Also, the goat fell into the hole with all the piglins, and that was very dangerous because if they ran out of gold to trade with, the goat would have been the victim. As interesting as that sounds, that didn't happen. I was gonna say unfortunately, but I stopped myself. Instead, all 3 of us got out of there unscathed. Day 70 to 90. They weren't actually able to get all the pearls we needed. We needed a few more, so we just went to one of the blue biomes and started killing some endermen. After we got all the goodies that we needed, we decided to dip. It was pretty straightforward, though the portal was a little bit far away. But eventually we got back and went through the portal. Once we were finally back to the overworld, I was able to finally get my body back. Man, did it feel good to actually use the arrow keys again? It was nice, trust me, especially from that long nether trip. Unlike me, I'm able to breathe underwater, but the fox isn't able to breathe underwater. So we quickly went up to my enchantment room that I cleared out because I couldn't really properly enchant with water in it. You guys get the point. We decided to reassemble at the very top, where I initially started growing my sugarcane crops. This is where we decided to start devising a bit of a plan, because we needed a plan of action, right? We all had lowered amounts of health, so how are we going to do this in the first place? But obviously we needed a bunch of beds to straight up kill the dragon, a bunch of food, and we need to actually get there. So we decided to throw the first pearl and head in that direction. It took a while because we were really far from the stronghold, and for some reason, the eye vendors kept going in weird directions. It's as if something was getting in the way of it. It was probably someone else's base with a modded item called the EEA, and it's a really annoying device, by the way, but it's meant to throw players off. Eventually, we reached a point where it was only going in one direction, and that was really good for us. We knew that we were nearby one of them, we just didn't know how far of a distance it was. Luckily for me, water was my element. Not to mention I was able to ride a boat, so once we reached the water portion, we were able to move through that pretty swiftly. And so did the goat. The one problem was, when the fox got into the boat, it kind of started suffocating, so they had to normally swim. FYI, it kind of took him ages to actually catch up with us because he was super slow. But once he finally did, he finally threw the last pearl that we needed that told us that the stronghold was right underneath our very feet. Unluckily, it was underwater, but I was able to mine underwater, so we were straight chilling. I mined straight into the stronghold, and our main goal was obviously to find the portal so we can get to the end and kill off the ender dragon, bringing back the lovely egg. But the issue was that this stronghold was like any other stronghold, and we had to spend some time finding it. On our journey trying to find it, we also encountered this little bit of an open area, which had a custom cave in it, and it was attached to a library. It looked pretty sick, but also kind of broken. But you know what? We appreciate it regardless. Now in this bit, I'm sure some of you guys have already noticed, but our hearts were kind of glitching at that time. Despite how much food and saturation I get, it never really goes beyond that, and that's kind of just how the mod works. It glitches sometimes for some reason. I don't really know how to fix that. But regardless, we kept moving forward, and I realized that those 3 hearts were kind of non-existent anyway, so I didn't consider them there. And at last, the goat has found the Ender Dragon portal. The issue was we still needed some wool, but despite that fact, we started lighting up the portal with the Eye of Enders, and this is what it looked like. You know, a little bit off topic, but the fox holding an Eye of Ender in his mouth looks hella goofy. I don't know why, it just looks really funny to me. The goat was the first person to enter the end, and when I started bringing up the fact that we didn't have wool for the beds that we kind of wanted to speed up the Ender Dragon fight, it was basically just like the last person still in the overworld is the one that has to get it all. And guess what? Your boy jumped. You know, I wasn't letting the fox get in before me. It was fair play. We were also gonna wait just in case we were near killing the dragon before, you know, the fox got there. But it wouldn't be too difficult. We were right on top of land anyways. And there we were. We were finally at the end. This one was a little bit more difficult because I didn't have that many arrows, but I did have a couple. A lot of the places I actually had to build up to. And it was really annoying when I angered Enderman because I was literally like a 1 to 2 shot. It was ridiculous. In conclusion, it was not a fun experience and we didn't have beds, so it sucked. It took a while, but eventually the fox came back with the beds that we needed and, you know, basically distributed it amongst us. And here's one of the clips of me actually placing a bed and blowing it up. I was only able to blow up one. I don't know, the dragon died before I can place another, but we killed it. You know, it was a collective effort, but eventually we managed to kill off the Ender Dragon. And there it was, the Ender Dragon egg. You'd think from here on out it was a bit of smooth sailing, but again, we're not the best team, okay? So there were a bit of issues, such as the Ender Dragon egg not being able to be collected, because we kept right-clicking it. It was like a game. Oh my god. It felt like whack-a-mole, okay? Days 90 to 100. After finally being able to collect the Ender Dragon egg, we decided to hop back in through the portal. This was kind of annoying because it actually brought us back to the initial place that we spawned at. That's a bit mad, but hey, you know, now we can finally explore the castle that I mentioned in the beginning. It was very chaotic. Despite us being fully stacked, fully enchanted, it was still a difficult place because of our low amounts of health. There's a lot of creepers, a lot of witches, skeletons, you name them. Everything was in there. Not to mention there was a batch of TNT in there that we also blew up. So the castle kind of blew up a little bit. Let's just hope the owner of the castle doesn't find out that we were the culprits. It's for our sake. Eventually, once we were done looting the place, which we did get some pretty decent stuff, but it was stuff that we already had, mostly, we went on to go back to our bases and finally reunite the species. We gathered a bunch of the players and gathered them all in one place. And there it was. At the end of the day, what we decided to place down was a shulker box that was made out of the shulkers that the goat got from the castle, a dragon egg, the wither skeleton skull that we luckily got somehow, and the pigs that we got from the Bastion remnant. We actually had two. Both me and the goat had one. But all in all, this was a really good day. We also decided to move out of the original place that we were in to a much more snowy place, and it looked great. And this is how we decided to end off day 100. We decided to go by a cliff and all just stare into the distance. This was great, you know. We did a lot today, but it was finally over. With all good things comes an end. There was nothing we had to worry about anymore. All of the dangers in the world were gone, and we were finally at perfect peace.
Sorry about all that yelling, guys. Bye. That was embarrassing.